Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. Have you noticed how everybody hates Karl now? Everybody that was supporting him, even YouTubers that have collaborated with him, are talking smack about him. They feel misled, this and that and the other. I made the video yesterday on how, originally he did get notices that he was going to be sued for claiming that Billy Mitchell was a cheater. You can go back and look at that video, but this is not about that. This is about the self-destruction of Karl Jobst and stuff that we were talking about back in the day. Just some stuff that are just really rookie mistakes. Like I said, you can't pretend to be something that you're not, especially if you didn't study it, if you didn't do it, if you didn't sacrifice. The problem here on YouTube is people, because they have a camera, because they can make a video, they make themselves believe that they're something that they're not, right? There's things in life that you can't call yourself if you're not. You can't call yourself a doctor. You can't call yourself, a dentist, but on YouTube, you can turn on a camera and call yourself a reporter, an investigative journalist, whatever it is, you just say it. That's what I am. I don't need any experience. I don't need anything. And because of this, you make rookie mistakes, and now some of the YouTubers are calling them out on it. Before they didn't, because, they were doing work that they liked, and they were cooperating with them. They were all chummy. They were getting views, which is the mother's milk of everything. And now that he's completely lost and, got destroyed in court, now they're making the criticisms that they should have been making back then. Right? The one thing about detractors, guys, and especially in business, people that don't like your business or whatever, detractors will do quality control for you for free, right? They will point out your mistakes before your friends do. You need the type of friends that tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear. And all of Karl's friends, all his YouTube friends, are fair weather friends, as you can see, right? All of a sudden now he's a pariah. Before April 1st, he was a genius reporter. Now he's just some schmuck that lied to people in order to get their money. It's nuts, right? The loyalty of YouTubers. As they say, victory has many fathers and defeat is an orphan. And that's the case here. But what got him into trouble? How did he do the self-destruction on himself? Well, for starters, guys, it's something that we talked about over and over again a long time ago, where he makes these declarative statements, and rather than saying this man has been accused of, or it looks like, or leave some sort of open-ended question, he says, this guy is this guy is a cheater, this guy is a fraud, this guy, is whatever worst adjective he can come up with. He makes statements like he broke the law. Like if he knew it, like it's been proven in a court of law. That's different, right? If I claim, for example, right now, that Karl Jobst defamed Billy Mitchell, it's because I'm reading it right off the articles that are on the press right now, that's what happened in a court of law. That's actual fact. Nothing's going to change that, right? You're talking about something that happened, but you can't say it, right, as a fact before it actually occurs. You can say, I believe. You can say, I think. You can say, it looks like. But that's not what Karl does. Almost in every single instance that I've heard his videos, he says it as an actual fact, and that's what gets him in trouble. And he does it because people watch this stuff, right? And when you're hearing somebody getting dunked on, it's just better entertainment. It's just better entertainment. When you call somebody names, when you accuse somebody of something salacious, you get more views. That's the whole purpose of doing that. And unfortunately, this guy was treating life like YouTube. He tried his case in public. He thought he was so smug that he thought that he could litigate his way on YouTube and use the same things that he used on YouTube in court. And as you can see, that's completely and utterly useless, because opinions and emotions don't mean squat. They don't mean squat. What matters are facts. Did you do this? Didn't you do this? What matters is, what kind of lawyers did you get? What matters is what, Billy did basically, where he said, I wasn't going to do this, but this one thing crossed the line. And then his lawyers came back and drew a narrative on that. And that's how they were successful. And when they told him to shut up, he shut up. He stopped talking. He went dark, whatever you want to call it, because he listened to his lawyers. What did Karl do? He didn't listen to his lawyers. He was too good for that. He was sure he was going to win. So he kept on talking smack. So it was very easy for the judge to see his intent, because all he did was watch his videos. All he did was speak his own words back to him in his loss. Those are things that the judge should have never had, because he should not have been talking about this stuff. Right? Why was he making videos? And, to Billy's point, he's making videos because they make him money. He needs to talk about me. And that's how other people see it from the outside. Right? And it's a trap that YouTubers get into. It's very difficult to say, what? Like if I'm talking about this subject, okay, maybe I get 50 more views, whatever. Maybe I get, whatever amount of views this gets. When I ever talk about somebody, in this case, in a court case like this, over time it'll get more views. And if I talk about a video game from, 1985, nobody cares. Right? But YouTubers, since this is their business, they get stuck on that loop. I need to create a video that gets so many views because I need this check, because this is my job. So your job in general gets driven to talking smack on the internet on a daily basis. Channels that talk shit, let's just face it, drama channels talking shit make more money than channels that don't. And if you're looking for attention on the internet, right, if you want that immediate response because you have nothing else going on, you don't have a career, or this is the way you make, your living, what have you, live streaming, if you do that, you make money. Some people are entertaining, right? Some people, like I watch Kino Casino, for example. They're entertaining as hell, and all they do is clown on people. But they're not making legal claims. They're insulting people a lot of times, right? But, as far as I heard them, they're funny. They're outrageous. But they're not clowning on them, in a legal way where they're claiming that they're committing crimes and calling them, with criminal adjectives. I listened to some DSP detractors, right? Golden Triangle Gaming, or Duty Stream, stuff like that. That stuff is entertaining. It gets a lot of views. But even they don't go to these extents of ego that Karl had. Karl's just sitting there magnanimous saying, Billy's this and he's never going to win because of that. Let me tell you why I'm going to win. His case is so weak, and he's giving legal opinions. He's not a lawyer. He's not even a reporter. He's not a proper journalist. All these are internet muscles. And I'm not telling you this just to clown in this one guy that's just completely self-destructed by doing all these things. It's just because it's a pattern that repeats. You continuously see these kind of people on the internet. They get some sort of YouTube notoriety, and then it gets to their bridges, right? They get really altered egos, if you will, egos that are bigger than their actual knowledge. So now you have people that might be popular because they're smart, at making videos, but they're not particularly wise, especially in this case, right? It's just, he did everything you could do to butcher a case. He didn't listen to his lawyers. It doesn't look like he followed even a good methodology even to choose lawyers, because he thought he had a slam dunk case in his mind. And that's a problem. It doesn't matter what you think if you're not a lawyer. That's what you get lawyers for. You can't have an ego so big that you think that you're better than your lawyers. That you think, you know what, I'm not going to pay you that money you're asking for. That's too much. I've decided that you need less money. What kind of job do you think a lawyer's going to do for you? Right? I mean, everything came from his ego. It was a complete self-destruction. And now everybody hates him. The one thing he valued the most, which is his YouTube channel, he's taking videos down from because everybody is chastising him for the way he handled himself. And they're remembering what he said on video. They're holding those words against him. Where, at no point he was saying, you know what, guys, I'm really worried about this, this Apollo legend thing. But everything was crazy. Every single step that you don't do, he did. For example, when you get sued, guys, the last thing you do, a lawyer will tell you the last thing you do is put it on YouTube, right? Because if you're a business, if you had a proper businesses are always looking to settle. You can settle the case without saying anything. Nobody knows anything for the better because in the settlements, you say, okay, we're going to settle, and nobody's going to say anything. Nobody ever knows anything. And that's that. You can say, oh, I had to take down the video because of copyright issues. That's it. And that's it. But you still have a YouTube channel, right? You still have a business. You still support your family. And that's the sad part here. If it was just a single guy talking shit on the internet, whatever. Happens all the time. But you have family, and that's how you support them. And the YouTube muscles, all the fake praise of the friends that you don't have anymore, get to your head and make you think that you're more than you actually are. And he's finding out right now. Let me tell you, this is when you find out who your real friends are. He should have known it from before, right? Because when you tried telling him the truth back then, he didn't want to hear it, right? When you're trying to tell him, hey, this is what you need to know, he wanted to hear what he wanted to hear, and he wanted to hear those voices cheering him on. And let's face it, those are the voices that are giving him money. If somebody's giving you a super chat for $50 or a donation for $50, are you going to listen to them? Or are you going to listen to a guy like me that's telling you, hey, you should be quiet. You should really try to settle this before it gets out of hand. No, I mean, he wanted to try this on YouTube. And these are the results. Self-destruction. And the worst part is that Billy Mitchell is just one of the people that he's talked about. Everybody else that doesn't like Karl, that has an axe to grind with him, absolutely knows, that all they have to do is basically just spit on him, fart on him, and he's not going to have the means to defend himself. And hopefully he learned a lesson, and when he gets sued again, he keeps it quiet. He learned the hard way what to do when you're involved in a case like this. And probably it's not going to be the last case he's going to go through. All right, guys, I have another one that I'm thinking about, but I have stuff to do today. I'm still moving and stuff. So I'll record it as soon as I can. Stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss another episode of Gen X Gamer. Take care.